It's about time we embrace change, champion transparency, and elevate our profession to new heights. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Salam sejahtera. Salam Malaysia Madani. Good morning. Selamat pagi. Chow San. Kalavanakam. Datuk Arkitek Azman Hashim, President of Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia, LAM. On behalf of him, he will not be able to join us this morning. Arkitek Datuk Tan Sri Isa Muhammad, Board of Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia. Encik Nur Amzari bin Azimi, Pengarah Bahagian Perlesenan Pemajuan Perumahan Jabatan Perumahan Negara, JPN. Arkitek Dr. Tan Lokman, Chairman of the LAM Fee Stakeholder Committee. Arkitek Sarli Adri Salkum, Committee Member of the LAM Fee Stakeholder Committee. Arkitek David Teo, Convener and PAM Practice Trust Coordinator. PAM Past Presidents, PAM Council Members, PAM Corporate Members, LAM Board Members, members of the LAM Fee Stakeholder Committee and the LAM Boss PwC Technical Team, Arkitek Dr. Tan Lokman, Arkitek Datuk Arkitek Tan Pei Ying, Arkitek Salih Adri Salkum, Arkitek Jasmine Sidhu, Mr. Yap Xiao Chung, and Mr. Chiam Pei Chin, from PwC, esteemed principals of ACPs, Architectural Consultancy Practices, distinguished guests and colleagues. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this pivotal seminar. Kind of full house, I believe. So today's seminar, Land Fee Stakeholder System for HDA projects today on 26 November 2024 at PAM Center, where we gather to address an issue that directly impacts the future of our practice and the professions. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we discuss a groundbreaking policy reform, the implementation of the Land Fee Stakeholder System for Housing Development Act, HDA projects. On 19 August this year, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, KPKT, introduced a directive that shifts the landscape of our engagements with licensed developers. It mandates that all applications for a housing developer's license must include a commitment to engage ACPs through the new Memorandum of Agreement Form B. More importantly, this directive designates the Board of Architects Malaysia as the stakeholder for managing our fees through the LAM Boss online system. This is a momentous change, not only in how we manage our fees, but also in ensuring the integrity of professional services. It reflects a broader acknowledgement of the critical role of architects play in shaping housing developments. The system aims to create transparency, accountability, and fairness elements that resonate deeply with the values of our profession. As the leaders of ACPs, the onus is now on us to adapt to this system and uphold its principles. From utilizing the Memorandum of Agreement Form B in accordance with the 4th Schedule of the Architect Rules 1996 to leveraging the LAM Boss online system, these changes demand that we align our processes with this new regulatory framework. Ladies and gentlemen, this seminar is designed to equip you with the knowledge and tools needed to navigate this transition. You will hear from the experts who will unpack the implications of these reforms and guide you through the practical steps required to comply effectively. Dear architects, let us embrace this opportunity, not just to adapt, but to lead. The reforms represent a step towards strengthening the profession and protecting our contributions to the built environment. Together, we can ensure a sustainable and equitable system that benefits all stakeholders, developers, practitioners, and ultimately the public. Once again, I thank you for your presence and commitments to this important dialogue. Let us make the most of today's discussion as we move forward with clarity and purpose. Reforms redefine practice, embrace transparency, accountability, and unity to elevate the architectural profession forward. Have a wonderful and informative session, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda, we would like to invite a representative of the Jabatan Perumahan Negara, Encik Nur Amzari bin Azimi. He is the Director of Bahagian Pelesenan Pemajuan Perumahan. I'd like to invite him to give us his opening remarks. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, very good morning. First of all, thank you. Terima kasih kepada Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia, kepada Pertubuhan Arkitek Malaysia atas jemputan kepada Jabatan Perumahan Negara KPKT untuk terlibat dalam seminar ini pada pagi ini. Jadi saya tak ambil lama selama, lebih kurang dalam 10 to 15 minutes just untuk introduce to you our housing integrated management system yang akan menjadi permulaan kepada stakeholder fee ini. Kepada arkitek fee ini. Untuk maklumat semua dari segi sejarahnya, perbincangan discussion with the PAM and LAM dengan Jabatan Perumahan Negara telah sejak tahun lepas, May, if I'm not mistaken, May 2023, yang mana pihak LAM dan PAM telah berjumpa dengan Jabatan Perumahan Negara yang bagi Datuk Jaya Selan, our Director General, mencadangkan supaya diwujudkan dalam sistem HIMS ini satu aku janji oleh pemaju bahawa pemaju bersetuju untuk beralih shifted daripada bayaran direct kepada firm kepada bayaran kepada lembaga. Okay. So secara dasarnya kami pihak KPKT telah bersetuju sejak tahun lepas dan kami telah mencadangkan supaya aku janji ini bermula daripada HIMS. Housing Integrated Management System, kita panggil HIMS. Kerana HIMS adalah sistem di mana pemaju akan memulakan permohonan lesen pemaju perumahan dan akan memulakan atau memohon permohonan permit iklan dan jualan. Okay, ada dua konsep di sini, satu lesen untuk memulakan construction, beside PBT punya license, KPKT juga ada license untuk memulakan pembinaan rumah, dan yang kedua permit, iaitu sebelum apa-apa jualan dan marketing atau advertisement dibuat untuk projek tersebut. Maka, dalam perbincangan dengan pihak LAM dan PAM sebelum ini, kami setuju bahawa aku janji oleh pemaju ini akan bermula semasa permohonan lesen. Di awal, paling awal sekali, permohonan lesen. Semasa pemaju memohon lesen dalam sistem HIMS, dia berkemungkinan belum ada projek. Sebab lesen pemaju perumahan boleh dimohon sebelum kebenaran merancang atau selepas kebenaran merancang. As long as pemaju ada tanah untuk di-develop, untuk dimajukan, dia boleh mohon lesen. Alright, ini di slide adalah paparan akaun HIMS pemaju. This is all the developer akan ada akaun ini, di mana dalam sistem ini pemaju akan memulakan permohonan lesen. Saya akan tunjukkan, ini adalah pilihan pemaju akan mohon. Di sini saya tunjukkan pindaan lesen. Saya tak tunjuk lesen baru sebab kami tak boleh nak akses lesen baru. Okey. Jadi pada pemaju yang telah punya lesen tetapi belum pernah beraku janji dalam akaun berkanun statutory form untuk LAM tadi, mereka akan masuk dalam pindaan lesen dan membuat pindaan terhadap lesen mereka. Sama ada section A, B, C atau D, apa-apa pindaan mereka akan masuk. Let's say contoh mereka pindah section D, pembaruan akaun berkanun. Okey, mulakan permohonan. Okey. Boleh. Okey, dia rolling. Okey, from here pemaju akan perlu mengemukakan permohonan berkanun. Iaitu pemaju akan pilih director dulu. Okey, dia akan pilih one of this director adalah director yang kita integrate daripada SSM, yang mana all this director kita akan pull from the SSM punya information lah, which is the BOD, okay, board of director of the company. Dia akan pick one and then baru dia akan boleh untuk download. Okay, ini mungkin pihak arkitek juga boleh advise your client lah kalau mereka tak tahu macam mana nak buat. So just inform them, go to your system HIMS, apply for any amendment on your, for your license, pick one of your BOD and then download. Download ada dua akaun berkanun, satu akaun berkanun untuk KPKT dan the other one is akaun berkanun statutory form untuk LAM. So choose the LAM akaun berkanun. So system akan auto generate the statutory form. Okay. So nama the BOD akan automatically appear with the IC number, the designation, and then company, and then the alamat. Okay. This is the statutory form. This statutory form kita dah agreed with LAM, PAM dalam our discussion before this. Then this pemaju just download and then print out, sign manually. For now kita belum ada digital sign lagi. Kita akan shifted to digital signs next year by March. Kita akan apply digital sign in our system. For now mereka perlu print out lah, print out, sign, get the petulis jari sumpah. This one need petulis sumpah. Okay, petulis sumpah, and then re-upload back. Re-upload. Upload back into the system, to the system lah. Okay, by PDF form, PDF format. Okay, and then submit. Save and then submit. And then when they submit to him, to us, to Jabatan Perumahan Negara, kita akan semak that statutory form has been signed. Okay, duly signed by the BOD and stamped by the petulis sumpah. And then kita akan simpan dalam kita punya HIMS lah, system. Okay, that is current punya practice. Okay, future kita bercadang supaya kalau kita boleh integrate our HIMS dengan HIMS system dengan LAM or PAM punya system. I'm not sure, tapi kita boleh start our discussion so that all the information here LAM or PAM can see lah, boleh nampak. Okay, so that the document here boleh integrate dengan your system so that you will know that this company has already signed the statutory form. So but currently jika pihak PAM LAM mahukan maklumat sama ada this syarikat already signed this form or not, you have to ask lah, and then we will give you feedback. Okay, future kita akan integrate. Okay, so this is ini yang saya nak maklumkan dalam sistem kita. So untuk pemaju baru yang baru mohon lesen akan same step, sama juga. Untuk pemaju yang sedia ada, yang telah ada lesen, inilah dia kena buat pindaan. Okay, so saya cadangan ialah I'm not sure bila akan implement this fee, tapi apabila fee ini telah diimplement nanti, maka pihak arkitek boleh invite your client untuk send this statutory form to KPKT first before you been appointed, sebelum you dilantik lah. Okay, so itu sajalah saya rasa. Jika ada soalan, ada any question? Okay, jika tak ada, saya rasa boleh just email to us, call us di Jabatan Perumahan Negara jika ada soalan sebab kami terima banyak soalan daripada pemaju. Ada pemaju yang bertanya, why have we signed this? Kenapa kami perlu sign this declaration? Sebab mereka kata mereka belum ada lagi fixed rate ataupun belum tahu lagi berapa nak bayar pada arkitek, kenapa nak kena sign? So I think that's no issue. whatever amount yang you akan bayar pada arkitek ataupun bayar pada LAM atau PAM, itu adalah antara you dengan LAM dan PAM lah. Dengan JPN, kita just need your declaration that you agree to pay to LAM the fee instead of pay to the firm. Betul? Itu kita punya objektif di bawah KPKT. Macam mana yang telah dipraktis oleh lembaga jurukur tanah kan, LGT. So this is the new method lah under LAM untuk, yalah sebenarnya bagus, kami setuju. One of the thing yang kami setuju is because pemaju will not be your paymaster anymore. Betul? Now, kalau you ada isu dengan pemaju or CCC or that, pemaju is your paymaster. So at some point, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe you have to follow their direction. If not, you're not being paid. Betul? I'm not sure, this is my opinion lah. Tapi now, bila bayaran itu telah dibuat kepada LAM, so you are free. Based on your professionalism, you are free to advise your client or free to do whatever based on your legal profession lah. Because the payment has been made, dah ada kat LAM. So anything you akan claim from LAM, bukan lagi claim from the developer. Itu one of the kenapa kami setuju lah. Okay, so that's all I think. Saya ucapkan tahniah kepada LAM dan selamat maju jaya kepada LAM dan PAM atas inisiatif ini. Dan kami sedia bekerjasama lah untuk future punya collaboration. Dan anything isu berkenaan dengan perkara ini boleh diajukan kepada pihak KPKT. Okay, sekian, terima kasih. Alright.
Let's give another round of applause to Encik Noor Amzari. So we've been waiting a long time for this integration of the systems. We have had the system completed, probably about 95%, but this was like the last step of the way. So we'd like to now invite Dr. Tan Lokman to present to us the contextual background of the fee stakeholder system. So let's give Dr. Tan Lokman a round of applause.
Thank you very much for the kind invite. Okay, I got to think about 20 years of, of waiting. So I want to firstly thank Pam for organizing this first roadshow. There'll be many more to come, so you don't have to, you know, if you get befuddled by the information, don't worry, okay? And we will even run some roadshows later for your accounting staff or your staff. That means you don't have to run everything yourself. Okay, this system is now online, and everyone that has access to it can actually run the system, including your finance staff. So don't worry, I know architects don't like to do everything, right? I just want to thank the PAM presidents, and maybe just look up there, and you can see all of them so handsome. I think this thing actually started from Paul Laichu's time, and it was started in 2004. So you can see like 12 presidents have come and gone, and 5 LAM presidents as well. The steadfast people who have stayed in LAM, I did a quick count just now, that still exists. Tan Pei Eng, Tan Sri Esa, who's been practicing for 50 years. I think they deserve a clap. Myself and architect Zuraina, who has been in and out. So in some sense, this has happened because people have stayed and carried it through, and I want to thank them for their support. Our industry, you have to admit, and I think KPKT is here, it's a very unusual industry. For many years, architects have grumbled and say, why are we taking so much responsibility? We actually sign stage certs that deliver houses to people. We sign a stage cert and banks release money. It's a very powerful certificate, you know. And if you do a large job like today, 200-300 million, one certificate you sign releases sometimes 50 million from the banks. You don't see it because you just put 10%, 15%. You just say completed, completed. But the money that moves in the system is a lot. This is very unique to Malaysia. Not every country has it. And with that comes, you know, great power to the professionals. And if you follow NetPeak in the past, Malaysia has stated that we need 200,000 houses a year. Okay, it's a stated fact because we are a growing nation. We need 200,000 houses a year. In a downturn period, we do 150,000 houses. In a normal year, and Radar knows all these facts as well, we produce 180,000 houses. So actually, there's plenty of work. Okay, so why you drop your fees, I don't know. But anyway, there's plenty of work, and a lot of responsibility falls on the architect. So I'll start with the first slide. I think some of you recall, and there's even debate now, someone to go back to CFO and certificate of fitness, but there's no way we will go back to that. I'm also a small developer. Prior to that, architects try to do everything to survive and make money. And I was held to ransom by local authority. Now, I'm not saying everyone does it. You finish the whole building and final inspection, they ask you to increase your tiling from 7 feet or 5 feet to the ceiling. Wet works, and your whole building is ready for handover. And they say it's a new law. I couldn't believe it, And to actually bring back the wet works in took me 6 months, and I had to pay LAD. Those were the old days where people could actually come and whim and fancy hold your CFO. So so I'll go straight into the slides. In June 2004, Prime Minister was Tun Ahmad Badawi. The Prime Minister called for the replacement of issuance of certificate of fitness or occupation by the local authorities with certification by professionals. The intention was to improve the efficiency of the building delivery system. The concept of Lembaga Architect Malaysia acting as a stakeholder for the architect's fees came with the introduction of the Certificate of Completion and Compliance for all buildings by professionals. Consumer good groups and the Home Buyers Association had raised their concern as to the independence of professionals to issue the CCC, as well as all the state certs, and the potential for conflict of interest as the professionals were paid by the clients. So what happened was the government had directed that we start to look at self-certification by professionals. Now, this again is unique in the world. We are one of the few countries in the world where the architect holds so much power, but with great power comes great responsibility. So it was passed back to the architects, because when you sign on the plans anyway, you take full responsibility forever and ever, whatever it means. Okay? So you are already taking all the liability. So nobody carries, the local authority doesn't carry any liability. And case precedent is, of course, Highland Towers. Yes, they are responsible, but no, you cannot hold them. You cannot penalize them. So in the end, this was the right thing to do. So what happened was when we started to take on even this responsibility of issuing CCC, self-certification, there was a bit of opposition, and it was brought all the way to Parliament. Okay, so I'll run through all this, because I want to explain to you the hurdles that this thing went through. The proposal for deposition architects' fees were independent, third party, was seen as an acceptable way to overcome this, whilst also improving the public's perception as to the independence of the professionals. This was based on the premise that professionals will be able to act more independently when the matter of fees and the fee payment from the client is taken out of the equation. This proposal was included in LAM's position paper, as well as the numerous meetings and presentations made in the development and implementation of the CCC. Datuk Tan Pei Eng was president when the CCC thing started. Then, as it got almost ready to be debated, a member of parliament raised the issue because of consumer concerns. The architect is paid by the developer. He will be pressured by the developer. And therefore, how can he be independent? For years, we have always been paid by the developer, and yet we have kept true to our profession. If you don't, you will end up in the board, a complaint will be lodged against you, and we will take action on you. we have always regulated our profession, professionally and with integrity. We have had good forefathers who came before us who are men and women of great integrity. This is a very unusual gathering. I'm so glad to, I told them just now, this is the hardest seminar to give a talk on because, all of you will say, I've eaten more salt than you, Doc. We are all professionals. We are all peers. This is a gathering of the elders in a sense. And I'm so glad that the first one is in a friendly environment of PAM. So what happened was, we tried to find a solution. And I was thinking about arbitration, how PAM collects the money from both parties and holds it as stakeholder. And then you sort of run the system from there. So I took that concept, and I remember the first meeting was in PAM. This idea actually came through PAM and from PAM. The people who participated in it are Jerry Sam, all the senior practitioners were there, and we drafted the framework for it. Then in June 2005, the proposal was tabled, accepted among members of the Building Industry President's Council, comprising the stakeholders in the building industry, namely all the professional institutions, PAM, IAM, ACM, ISM, IPDM, the Real Estate Housing Developers Association, and also the Master Builders Association of Malaysia. In addition, the proposal was accepted also by the Home Buyers Association. So the consumer side accepted it, and also the Building Industry President's Council. I just want to say that the BIPC was started by PAM during Datuk P. Kasih's time. It's a very powerful grouping. All the presidents of the various stakeholders are members of BIPC, Building Industry President's Council. I was PAM president by then, and I remember, I'm not sure whether I was PAM president, maybe not, but I called a quick meeting because the thing was stuck in Parliament. The minister at that time was Dato Sri Sami Velu, and he said that he didn't, it was brought up by a member of Parliament in one sitting, and he needed a quick reply before the next sitting. And we had to quickly come up with a stakeholder system initiated from the idea by PAM. So I remember the meeting was actually held in a restaurant, coffee house of PJ Hilton. All the presidents came together. Reda was there, everyone was there. And I told them that the CCC thing was stuck and they couldn't cross this hurdle because the ultimate self-certification person was being questioned as to the conflict of interest. And everyone that was there agreed that they would support this system. And therefore we took it, and we have the minutes of all these meetings, and we took this back to the minister. There was consensus in the industry to implement the deposition of architects' fees with a stakeholder. The proposed stakeholder at the necessary authoritative clout to implement this proposal would be LAM. On 28 June 2006, LAM and PAM submitted a memorandum to the Minister of Works proposing for the architects' fees to be deposited with LAM as stakeholder and to be dispersed progressively according to work done. In tabling the amendments to the Architects Act in Parliament in December 2006, the Minister of Works brought up the proposal for LAM to act as stakeholder to overcome public perception on the independence of architects and the potential for conflict of interest, especially in the area of certification and the soon-to-be implemented CCC. So Dato Sri Sami Velu, the late Dato Sri Sami Velu, was also a PAM member, and he is an architect. And I dare say that he was probably one of our very supportive ministers. He fought for us in Parliament. We got the Hansard some years back, and it's attached to this. Maybe at the end I'll show you how he debated with the members of Parliament and told them that the architects are basically like the heroes holding up the whole system. And later on, maybe I'll show you the Hansard, and you'll be shocked at how he actually fought for us and defended us. So this was tabled, and it was accepted. Okay, in tabling the amendments to the Architects Act in Parliament in December 2006, the Minister of Works brought up the proposal. I've read this already, sorry. So, in early 2007, the Minister of Works announced the Ministry's support for the proposal for the deposition of architects' fees with a stakeholder and instructed LAM and Board of Engineers to prepare the mechanism for implementation. LAM's meeting in the Board of Engineers was held on 11 January 2007 when it was agreed for a start for LAM to implement the proposal for housing projects. The Board of Engineers at that point in time said that they wanted us to take the lead, and because housing is the one that involves so many stakeholders and home purchases, and it was one of the biggest industry drivers involving the public. So they felt that because it will benefit, if the protection was more for the housing projects first, which we have always advocated. CCC came into force on April 12, 2007 and replaces the Certificate of Fitness for Occupation previously issued by the local authorities. LAM, at its meeting on 30th August 2007, proceeded to develop and implement the proposal for deposition architects' fees with the stakeholder, initially for housing projects, with LAM acting as the stakeholder along the lines of the agreed mechanism and flowchart. Along the way, the system has evolved to suit feedback that we got from the industry. Okay, I think some of you recall in 2008 there was a political tsunami. Unfortunately, our Minister of Works lost his seat, and we actually were in a bit of a limbo for the next two ministers. So it was only in 28 January 2010, the Minister of Works, this was Shaziman, approved the framework and mechanism for the implementation of deposition architects' fees with a stakeholder, initially for housing projects with LAM acting as the stakeholder. Then it also went through our own internal discussions and development, and in item 10, PwC Malaysia were appointed to prepare the study and implementation framework for the LAM stakeholder fee management system on 26 August 2017. In 2019, PwC Malaysia were appointed to develop the stakeholder fee management system. Today it's called LAM BOSS, Board Online Stakeholder System. Okay, I let the young ones choose the name. Okay, they say it sounds like Lamborghini, but I think it's a nice name, and we should take back the lead in the industry, and also to provide outsourcing to manage the system. I think in the whole period from 2004, where it was analog and digital, we have actually transitioned. Technology has actually improved, and I'm so glad to hear the sharing on the HIMS. The HIMS is very advanced from what it sounds like. They can actually check the changes to directors and so on, and we are working on our API now to link it up. There's nothing hidden, and especially for the housing industry, everything should be transparent. Okay, there's the days of hiding, the days of gray areas have come and gone. If you don't believe it, when tax department can audit you, you know for sure there's nothing hidden. And I think for such a large industry where we hold so much responsibility, these online systems are very, very good because it brings everything out into the open. So at that point in time, we selected PwC because also they were the only big four that were not implicated in something bigger, like a whale. So we selected PwC. So the board is also quite intelligent. We actually choose who we want to do this thing and run it. So you don't have to worry because like we learned from Enron, all the directors in the big four are liable for any problems. Yeah. And I think it's unlimited as well. I saw some people overseas are now retiring early. The system has since been completed and is ready for implementation. On 27 July 2019, the Minister of Works approved the amendments to the architects' rules to make it mandatory for the deposition of architects' fees with a stakeholder for projects with LAM acting as a stakeholder. This was the Honorable Baru Bien. he was minister at the time, and he approved our amendment to the architect's rules that enabled the memorandum in Form B to come into our rules. The proposal obtained the regulatory impact statement approval from the MPC on 16 April 2021. Every step of the way, we were thrown a hurdle. And this was almost the one that broke all our backs, because it was like, you know, when a project becomes too hard, you make them go through here to cross this hurdle, and this was the hardest hurdle to cross. I want to thank Dato' Izumi, who actually helped us, because Dato' Izumi was very involved with MPC, yeah. So, and he's a very good strategist. Along the way, as you look from the 12 presidents, I tried to chuck this thing off my shoulders. I tried to toss it to Boon Chivi, then Chan Siong An came, I tried to pass it on to him. But in the end, it was still the 3-4 of us left in the board. So it was something that was a hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. Ministry of Housing and Local Government and Suran Pencegah Rasuah Malaysia in 2018 and 2019 has also requested for a system to be implemented as soon as possible to protect the interests of house buyers, and they be kept updated on its progress. SPRM, when the new government came in 2018, there were cases where, due to political pressure, units were handed over that were not ready to be handed over just to win votes, I guess. Yeah. And guess what? Everyone blamed the architect. So when the SPRM found out how powerful our signatures were, they were also quite shocked. And then we had to explain to them that this system was actually coming out. And they were very glad with that, and they are happy with that. And so now, 19th of August, the HIMSS thing has gone on. So we are ready to roll it out. Amendment to architects' rules were approved on 1st October 2022 to give the option for the deposition of architects' fees with LAM as stakeholder. So these are the regulatory, this was the last hurdle we had to climb over. And these are the conditions of engagement in the architects' rules. This will be part 3 question soon. But you are all principals, so I guess you don't have to take the part 3 again. But maybe we should let you take it. You all probably fail. Okay. And this is the memorandum of agreement that we got into the Architects Act. So current status and action required. The system can now be implemented and made mandatory for housing projects through the Housing Development Control and Licensing Act 1966, Act 118, and regulations. LAM is currently working on the amendment to the Architects Act to further strengthen the system. So with effect from 19 August 2024, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government mandates that all applicants for a housing development license must engage architectural consultancy practices through LAM stakeholder system for any new project initiated after this date. So that was our LAM president's writing into Dato' Jaya Silan to confirm our agreement. And then this was a follow-up. And this is the statutory deck that has been put in that Amzari has shown us. So, executive summary. This proposal came about as part of the implementation of CCC in 2005 with stakeholder input and was accepted by the Building Industry President's Council and the Home Buyers Association. I want to reiterate here that this is not a debt collecting service, okay? We are not, the system and LAM's role is not to help you collect bad debt. That one, there are ways to do it, okay? But, and also the other thing is, it's not, the system is not there to teach you or to guide you how you should run your business. We always believe in free market economy, so you must know how to run your business. And if you, like people always ask me, the scale of minimum fees, Though to the board, the rules have always been there. You break the rules, is your own decision. And if you find anyone who is below a scale of fees, you can always report them to the board, and we will take action. But what we are trying to say is that you need to know how to run your own business. And the system is not there to make you or teach you how you should run your business. And I guess everyone here runs your practice differently. Your relationship with your clients are also very different, okay? To overcome the perception as to the independence of architects and potential for conflict of interest in relation to statutory and contractual certification, in particular the CCC. Like I said, Malaysia is a good country. I was coming in just now and I was seeing all the architects. I was looking at their cars because I don't have a nice car. Recon. And I was seeing, wow, all these guys drive very nice cars, but they keep grumbling about very bad fees. Yeah, but this is a very unique country where we're still regulated. You still need an architect or a principal submitting person to submit plans. You operate in Australia, anyone can submit plans. You go to UK, your grandma can submit plans. We are a very unique country. The housing industry targets to do 200,000 houses a year. You just work that out and you know that it is a big business. Now, I'm not saying in the terms of greediness. It's an important portion of the overall economy of the country. It needs to be well run. Home Buyers Association keep putting up pictures in newspaper, abandoned houses, abandoned houses, abandoned houses. KPKT has a whole department trying to resolve these issues. This will help in some sense. The system has always been about public protection for the good of community. Any law that we have always enacted, we see a lot of people asking for new laws, new acts. But the question is, what is the benefit to the public? And we have been around, I think PAM is 100 years now. We are known as the oldest profession in the world. The oldest one is illegal, okay? So we are the oldest legal profession in the world. People, professions, and cartels and trades will come and go, but we will always be there. And Malaysia affords us a very unique position as architects. Our signature is very important. Integrity is very important. And this system is there to further assist us, okay? There is consensus in the industry to implement the deposition architect's fees for stakeholder, and that professional services and work done ought to be paid. This was actually emphasized by Radar. Because just like PAM or just like any society, they have rogue members. And contrary to everyone's thinking, Radar only has a very small portion of developers as members. They also know that out there are so many rogue developers, and these rogue developers do everything they can or want without reference to integrity, honesty, and good delivery. So they actually said that work done must be paid, and we built this on that consensus. The Minister of Works approved the implementation on 28 January 2010. Ministry of Housing and Local Government, KPKT and SPRM in 2018-19 has also requested for a system to be implemented as soon as possible to protect the interests of house buyers. Architectural services involves more than just commercial control contract between employer and professional. It involves statutory submissions, declarations, and certification to protect public interests. I think I just want to emphasize that I've said it from day one, from the start. This is a very unique industry that we certify, one signature releases money. The moment money is released, and if you wrongfully certify, the ramifications are very great. The money already paid out. The bank has released the money. If the work is not done, you actually cause a lot of headache to the home buyers, and it just ripples down the line. And a lot of paperwork and bureaucracy and legal lawsuits. We want to try to eliminate as much as possible, most of it or all of it. So I'll reread this. Architecture services involves more than just a commercial contract between employer and professional. It involves statutory submissions, declarations, and certification to protect public interests and impacts third parties such as purchasers and end users. With effect from 19 August, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government mandates that all applicants for housing developer license must engage in the ACPs through LAM stakeholder system for any new project initiated after this date. This is the Hansard. I think I should read it because just to honor our past member. Tuan Yang Dipertua, untuk maklumat yang berhormat bagi keterai, fee arkitek adalah berdasarkan satu skala yang telah ditawarkan oleh kerajaan, diwartakan oleh kerajaan. Those of you who say that government don't follow the fees, you should drag this thing out. Okay, it's been debated in Parliament, drag it out, and this was our minister then. Saya ingin membawa ke perhatian ahli-ahli yang berhormat bahawa ramai pelanggan tidak membayar yuran arkitek, tetapi memerlukan perkhidmatan arkitek 100%. This is typical Sami Velu. I can't pronounce it like he does, but I can imagine him saying it 100%. Masalah ini telah sekian lama ditanggung oleh para arkitek dan kementerian saya telah membuat keputusan untuk mewujudkan satu sistem di mana sebuah agensi di bawah Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia untuk mengutip bayaran bagi pihak arkitek profesional serta membuat bayaran kepada mereka berdasarkan perkhidmatan yang diberi. Tuan Yang Dipertua yang berhormat bagi seputih, I think you know who this is, telah membangkitkan isu sama ada terdapat apa-apa konflik kepentingan oleh seorang arkitek atau jurutera yang mengemukakan plan-plan pada masa yang sama mengeluarkan perakuan siap dan pematuhan. Bagi menjawab soalan yang berhormat bagi seputih, saya berpendapat bahawa tidak terdapat apa-apa konflik interest dalam kepentingan. Dalam perkara ini kerana seorang arkitek mereka bentuk bangunan dan sebagai seorang profesional beliau juga mengetahui segala selok-belok mengenai bangunan tersebut. Di samping itu beliau juga menyelia secara berkala pembinaan bangunan dan bertanggungjawab mengawasi pendirian bangunan itu bagi memastikan bahawa pembinaan itu mematuhi undang-undang serta selamat dan layak diduduki. We look forward to a day again when we have an architect as a minister. And you know, when I saw this Hansard some years back where we managed to find it, it is something honorable. Okay. So these are some minutes from BIPC meeting, which I put there for record in case people have short memories and forgotten what they have agreed to. So these are the approvals. And with that, I finished the slides, but I just want to touch on a few things. Some people, you know, I'm a practicing architect, work like a dog. So I start to figure out this thing in 20 years, I've had to think this through quite a number of times. So I figured out that some of my clients are very good. When I send out the bill, they pay me very fast. So to me, this is like a delay, you know. I have to get them to pay the board first, then only pay me. So, you know, so I figured out there are 3 types of clients. Number 1, the good clients, okay. Some of your firms, 90% are good clients. So you might think, oh, this one is a bit of additional work. Some of you, especially when you start, 90% are not so good clients. And I don't know about out there, but every practice is different. So to those with good clients who pay every time you send in a bill on time, I guess it is just additional work that you need to do. Then the second type of client who drag you, and I think 99% drag you. Even my good clients, they say payment in 21 days, it never happens because they are public listed, they don't know whose signature, and then it comes out in 30, 60 days. Then the second group are those who drag you. And some drag you to the extent that they pay you partial. And they keep holding. It's an illegal retention. They hold you until they got a lot of leverage at the end. And you are riding the tiger. You got other jobs that you take your good clients' fees and you cross-subsidize the buggers who don't pay you. That is, to me, is a sin. And I found out that the lousy clients take up all my time, so I prefer not to have lousy clients. Your time is so valuable. You must start to sieve out the wheat from the chaff in that sense. And you know, in the early days, I realized that the terrible clients did take up 90% of my time, fighting this, fighting that. And then I realized, oh, I must get rid of these clients or make them learn how to be a good client. I'm sure you got much more experience than me, okay? The third type of client are those who have no intention to pay you at all, okay? And we have all met this. They talk to you, say, hey, doc, can you do a proposal? You know what this guy think, huh? And he don't even pay for the coffee. That's the first sign he's not going to pay for anything. Get your LOA, get your letter of appointment. If he cannot even sign the darn thing, he has no intention. I like what Jerry Sam always says. You know, this is 100 million, 50 million. This is people's money. Banks are involved. This is a no-joke thing, you know. The architect's fees is just a percentage of it. And you don't have to pay upfront. You just pay progressively. And they cannot even set that aside. So those are the three types of clients that I find. So this system, to me, it's not a silver bullet. I mentioned it in the board meeting that day. It doesn't solve everything, but it helps to some extent, okay? I just want to highlight how it helps, okay? Part of the process, I think Sally will share, is that you must get a sign-off. If you read our Architects Rules Memorandum of Appointment, we have all forgotten this sign-off. We need the sign-off. Once you get the sign-off, you bill them, they have a period of time to pay, according to what your agreement is. Then when the payment is received, the board will release the money to you. So the first thing it does is it confirms your work up to a certain stage. Actually, you think about it, it's not hard to get the sign-off, because people have asked me, wow, my client, how to get him to sign off? Then at planning stage, DO, you don't submit. You say, I need that thing, otherwise I'm not going to, how I know you accept the work done? They will sign off because they want the DO fast, okay? Then at BP stage, it's also very easy. At DD stage or BP stage, you want me to submit for building plan because they want to get their APDL, you have to say that the work I've done is accepted before I can even submit it. Otherwise, you take me around circles again. So your work done, remember Reda said this, work done must be paid. Sign off, if the guy goes into dispute with you, you go to SIPA, you still get your money. Because sign off, work done and accepted. So I think that process needs to come back down to how we run our practices. The other thing is also, it will help you with abortive work. In a downturn, abortive work kills us. Every new marketing guy who comes in, I see you're all quite old, so you know what I'm talking about. The young chiku comes in, and sometimes your ex-staff, you know, telling the old man new things. And they make you change from high-rise to low-rise, then go back to high-rise, then mid-rise. Hey, what do you think this is? Order 10 coffee and don't pay. I think this will help you because you get a sign-off, pay for it. Then up to you to negotiate. If you are very kind to the person because it's your grandmother, then you say, okay lah, never mind, I'll do another one for you. But if not, work done must be paid. That will help you. So I've tried to cover some of the questions I anticipate later. It's not a silver bullet. It will not cure everything because there's human nature, and bad people will still be bad people. But we hope the good people will just become better. And, you know, the way you run your practices, it will guide you. Now it's all online. You can actually check. You know, in the past, 10 years ago, you couldn't do it. It's like your bank account. You can actually go into it, and I'll get PwC to share. You can actually see what your account is and whether you've been paid. Okay. There is a small charge that we have to charge to run the system. I'll let Sally explain that. And the outsourcing is by PwC team. PwC, rest assured, they make payments for a lot of multinationals. So they actually know this role very well of outsourcing. So, and as well as that, LAM is still the final check of before things go out. Okay, so with that, I will just pass on to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tan Lokman. Let's give him another round of applause to honor the 20 years of struggle to get this thing through. All right, next speaker is our past president and also Lembaga Architect Malaysia board member, Architect Salih Adris Arkham. For those who don't know, recently he's also been appointed as CEO of GBI, Green Building Index. Their office is upstairs, so he's now doing advocacy for us at the Institute. Architect Salih will be presenting the system itself and LAM's role in the system. So please, let's welcome Architect Salih Adris Arkham.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Thank you, David. But a bit of a correction. Actually, it's the overview of architects' obligation under the fee stakeholder system. So I think Doc did a wonderful introduction and historical overview. So what I'm going to do is tell you, all of you, what's your responsibility with regard to the system. Because as the primary person who is running the firm, it's actually a lot of responsibility is fallen on you, yeah? And before I came in, a few people asked me, why LAM boss? And why one S, not two S? So the original name was coined by David, by the way, and it was 2S, but every time we call it the LAM boss system, LAM boss system. So S is already the system. So it's Lembaga Architect Board Online Stakeholder System. So if you have 2S, it will be system. So that's why we cut one S and everybody decided to go with it. So I hope in this historic seminar, you can explain to people why it's LAM boss, not Lamborghini. Okay, without further ado, I'll be explaining I'll try to be as quick as possible because after this we have a question and answer session, which I think is the primary session that you'll all be interested in, because I'm sure we try to cover as many scenarios as possible, but you will have your own questions and your own concerns, yeah? So what is the stakeholder fee system, key objectives and scopes, architect's obligation, reporting and compliance requirements, benefits to stakeholders, common challenges and best practices. So introduction, I think this is, all of you know that, yeah, of course, after 20 years, what it's all about is LAM actually collecting the fee on your behalf, ensures transparency, addresses conflicts of interest and public trust. Historically, that is why we got the stakeholder system to work. Mandatory for all housing projects since 19 August 2024. So actually the HIM system is all ready, but we are just coming into play. Scope primary housing projects is optional for other types of development. So although now it's mandatory for housing, if you have, like for example, what Doc mentioned, good clients and you want to put them into the system, you can also do so. So as usual, when LAM asks you to do something or enact something, we have a general circular. So the general circular is ready, but it's actually going through checking and legal advice and all that. So, but today I will run through the basics. The target release is in December. So these are the actual wording that is in the general circular, because I know this is very small, you can't read it. So first, I'll just read it because I think this is important. Introduction. Pursuant to the amendments to the Architect Rules 1996, on 1st of October 2022, the fourth schedule Part 1, Form B, subparagraph 29(1)(c)(2) provides the architect's client to deposit architect's fee with Board of Architects, LAM as stakeholder. With effect from 19 August 2024, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government mandates that all applicants for a housing developer's licensed developer must engage architectural consultancy practice, ACPs, through LAM stakeholder system, as described in para 1.1 above, for any new project initiated after this date. KPKT will notify licensed developers to submit this declaration via the Jabatan Perumahan Negara JPN Housing Integrated Management System HIMS at HIMS KPKT portal for new projects initiated under the existing licenses. So just now Encik Hari just showed us the actual HIMS system. Depositing of architects' fees with LAM as stakeholder. With effect to 19 August 2024, all architect fees for projects governed under the Housing Developers Control Licensing Act 1966 Act 118 shall be deposited with LAM as stakeholder. Architects shall ensure that appointment by licensed developers for their architectural consultancy practice is as per the Memorandum of Agreement in the fourth schedule Part 1 Form B subparagraph 29 of Architects Rule 1996. The scope of works, fees, agreed schedule of payment is if none stated, shall be in accordance with the schedule for basic architectural services as outlined in the Architect's Scale of Minimum Fee Rules 2010. So this responsibility is put on the ACPs. Architect's fee is in relation to the client's project shall include all supplementary service and additional services as defined under the Architect's Scale of Minimum Fee Rules 2010. Upon its appointment, ACPs shall register the project with LAM Online Stakeholder System, LAM Boss System. This is the lam-boss.gov.my. Each registered project shall be assigned a registration number. So it's your project ID number. LAM shall impose a management charge of 0.3% to architect's fee by way of deducting such fees received together with government service tax, if applicable, at the prevailing rate. Yeah. We put it if applicable. We try, because theoretically, LAM does not need to pay SST, but some advice that we are getting from our accountants and legal department says that we need to, so if applicable. The ACP is permitted to proceed with his services upon registration with a LAM Boss system. Upon completion of each phase of work, as outlined above, the ACP shall obtain the client's written confirmation that the particular phase of work has been completed and accepted by the client. The ACP shall then submit an invoice to the client, who shall then make payment to LAM. The ACP shall upload the client's written confirmation and the invoice to the LAM Boss system. So this was what Doc was saying about the sign-off, yeah, which I will detail on later. LAM Boss system will issue reminders and notices as required. Upon LAM receiving the client's written confirmation, ACP's invoice and client payment, LAM will release the net amount due to ACP. The ACP is required to notify LAM via the LAM Boss system of any changes relating to the appointment for architectural services for the project. This includes any addition or omission to the scope of work, fees, schedules, or method of payment, project status and appointment status, such as termination of services or suspension of services, etc. So the service actually is made very flexible. It's not just only made for housing, it's made for all architectural service, both the basic services and beyond. Upon completing the architectural consultancy service, the project the ACP shall notify via the LAM boss system of the completion. Information on the LAM boss system is available from the frequently asked questions section available in the lamboss.gov.my address. Below in bold is all ACPs are required to comply with this directive. Any non-compliance, breach or contravention will be considered a violation of the general circular by order of the Board of Architects. So it is mandatory to use the LAM boss system for housing projects. Yeah, and as architects, you should be the one should be driving the application of the project. So I think Doc covered most of this already. The transparency, why we are using the LAM boss system is transparency, conflict-free certification. KPKT mentioned that. Yes, no pressure from the developer. Accountability, tracks payments and project milestones systematically. If there's any issue for dispute, there's no more issue for dispute. Everything is there. If it's not signed, the document is there. It's not there. If it's there, it's there. So there are very little gray areas. Security, protect both architects and developers by ensuring payments are tied to work progress. So immediately, work done needs to be paid. And the system is very flexible. It's not just your 5 basic systems. You can have monthly payments, for example, upfront payments. All those are factored into the system. And for all scales of practice, from the smallest practice, single individuals to, of course, our big boys, yeah? So all those is simple enough to cater for all types of project. And I think I highlight here, not a magic bullet to solve all problems, but start towards better practice environment. I think Doc mentioned this verbatim, not a magic bullet, because at the end of the day, this is not a solution to do better architectural practice, but it's just a place where to help create a better practice environment. And hopefully in the future, we can build on this to create better practices and more equitable fees. Yeah. So if it seems daunting, as always, we wouldn't leave you high and dry. We have quite an extensive LAM boss user guide. This is the actual cover from the old one, but it will be provided as a downloadable thing from the website. The guidebook will be telling you step by step from logging in, if you lost your password, what happens if you lost your password, you lost your contact information, change email, all those kind of things, it's covered inside the logbook, because we know that as usual, in practice, anything could happen. And many of us have gone through local authority systems, government systems that are very, very unfriendly. So we try to make this system as friendly and as idiot-proof as possible. So architects' obligations, project registration. So it's your responsibility as the architect to actually push this system, as mentioned by Cik Amhari just now. When the statutory declaration is made, if your clients do not know about the statutory declaration, you need to tell them. Architects must register the projects in LAM boss upon appointment by the developer. Details include scope of work, fee schedule, and service agreement. So how the frequency you're going to be paid, what is the project all about. And don't worry, if the project changes for whatever reason, or don't want to build another block, want to build an extra penthouse, whatever, you can change it within the system. There is, of course, as I mentioned, flexibility which enables you to change the project parameters. Fee schedule compliance. Fees must align with the Architect Scale of Minimum Fee Rules 2010, includes basic, supplementary, and additional services. Project confirmation. Obtain confirmation of registration details from client developer. Provide all relevant details with regard to the project. Architect's obligation project registration. Yeah, so this is the actual, if you download from the LAM website, this is the actual memorandum of agreement, and that is under the new architects rules and the amendment from 2022. So everything is here, the scope of work, agreed payment schedule, and all that, all the terms. Yeah. So it's a public document. Please, if you have not, I'm sure you have, but if you have not, please download from the Lembaga website. Architect's obligation during the project life cycle. If there's a change in project scope, as I mentioned, notify LAM of any change in project scope. Yeah. Change in mode of payment. Suddenly, they want to pay you more, pay you less, or even, for example, which is common, contra, for example, contra units. There is also a mechanism under the system to actually allow that. So we try to be as inclusive as possible with regards to the flexibility. Final reporting, notify LAM boss under the project completion to close accounts. So it's upon the architect to actually close the accounts. Dispute resolution, work with clients and LAM to resolve any payment discrepancies before project closure. So LAM will actually check your invoices, will check all your documents. If there's any discrepancy, the architect needs to work with Lembaga to actually resolve this. Document archiving, ensure that all project details and approvals are accurately recorded in the system. So please, with the professionalism that we are trying to show the industry, we should have complete documents with complete signatures and all the relevant supporting documents. Reporting and compliance requirements, mandatory reporting, appointment detail, of course your appointment details, the client's detail and whatnot, project status updates, scope changes and fee adjustments as mentioned, compliance standards, adherence to general circulars and architects rules 1996, timely updates and avoid delays in payment and regulatory breaches. Penalty for non-compliant, disciplinary action, fines and project delays for breaches. So at the end of the day, if Lembaga finds that you are not consistently updating your LAM boss system, Lembaga has the right to actually fine or take action against you lah. Basically, and that's the if you look at the general circular just now, at the end they really put in that thing, because if you, in order for this system to work, all the architects need to give their cooperation to actually report in. Sign off work completion form. So just now, I think Dr. Tan mentioned the work completion form. So there is an actual form in the system that you can download and you can fill out. And it is in PDF, but hopefully in the future will be all digital. But for the time being, similar to HIMSS, we are still using PDF. So once you have gotten the signatories or the signatures from your clients, you will upload the system again, into the system again. And then the system will help you email to your client saying that the payment is due. Yeah. And the good thing about, although as Doc mentioned, this is not a debt collecting software or debt collecting portal, but it does help because the system does give payment reminders. So if you need to remind someone, Mr. Developer, tolonglah bayar, boleh lah macam tu. Tapi other than that, yes, other means as Doc mentioned. People will also ask where the money is kept. The money is actually kept in a separate account governed by LAM. It's separate from all the other LAM accounts. The accounts is only specific to the LAM Boss platform. So each project will be deposited in these accounts. Transactions will only be done with these accounts. So it's totally private. Only a very limited number of LAM staff will have access to these accounts. Yeah. Management fees. So in order to run the system, there is a small management charge that is charged to the fee. And again, with SST or without, The management charge is intended to maintain the system and cover all related costs. May be reduced once there is volume. So LAM is not in the business of making money. Actually, it's just to cover the cost. So if in the future there is a good volume of housing projects, a good volume of projects using the system, we may consider to lower the percentage. So as you can see here in this very simple example, a 1 million fee would garner about only 3,000. So if you charge 10,000, then it's only 30 ringgit. Benefits, if you need to explain the benefits in short, for architects, it's secure guaranteed payment tied to completed work. Transparent fee management eliminates client disputes. As many of you would attest, in Lembaga, many of our cases about disputes are, is the work done, work not done, because we rarely practice sign off upon completion. Easy resolution and preempting if project is problematic. So what this means is that it is a point where you can say, oh, okay, sorry, if there's no payment, I can stop work, or I won't service you anymore, which was previously very difficult to do because it was not very clear, right? Now clarity is there. For developers, payment linked to verified work progress. So for them, especially for large developers, everything, the clearer they are, the more they like it. Simplifies fee tracking and management. For the public, enhances trust in architectural certification, CCC, in the whole HDA thing, promotes professionalism in the industry. Common challenges in the solution: delayed client confirmation. So the problem with the fee payment is dependent on you. So if you need to chase, or your staff needs to chase, because if the confirmation is not lodged into the system, it wouldn't be processed. So you need to lodge it as soon as possible. Proactively follow up with clients and set clear timelines for approvals. Yeah? So that sign-off sheet is very important. Challenge number 2, changes in project scope and appointment. Update LAM boss immediately and communicate changes effectively. So if there is any changes in the project scope, please do update immediately and not wait till things have gotten to a serious stage, and then the payment is required on a different set of payment parameters or bullets. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you need to update immediately. Lack of familiarity with the LAM boss system. Okay, we have a FAQ, which I will show you later, and training resources available at lamboss.gov.my. And we plan to conduct roadshows, as mentioned by Doc, to even the chapters for staff and all that. Yeah, so don't worry. And as I mentioned before, the system comes with a manual. It's very simple. It's supposed to be, if you are a single practitioner, a single sole proprietor, I think you can even manage with it. Yeah. So a simple workflow overview is actually quite simple. You just register in simple forms, you just register the project on LAM boss, confirm project details and terms with the client, submit invoices and documentation for completed work stages, client deposit payment to LAM, LAM checks, verifies and disburses payments to the architect. Then repeat step 2 to 5, 3 to 5 accordingly, and notify project completion and close accounts on LAM boss. So actually, it's a very simple thing. So to recap, architects plays a crucial role in ensuring the success of the fee stakeholder system. So it's on you. And we have been asking this for so many years. We have been working hard for it. So hopefully we get the buy-in from all the principals to actually move this forward. Embrace the LAM boss system for improved transparency and professionalism. Please help improve the system via constructive feedback. As you well know, with any software, any portal, it is not perfect. We are rolling out the best. We have we think that it's the best at the moment. But of course, there will be scenarios that we cannot imagine or we have not thought out of yet. So we need help from all of you to make the system better. Together, we can uphold the higher standards of architectural practice, if possible, using this system. So last but not least, we have the FAQ. So the one on the right, on my right, the one with the green LAM logo is the actual FAQ. So it is currently because the LAM boss portal is not fully online. So I put it in a Google Drive, but later on we will shift it to a proper through the portal. But for the one more important is the one with the black and white LAM logo. So this is for asking additional questions. You will find that when you look at the FAQ, there are a few questions that have been answered. But if you have any questions today that you think should be in the FAQ, or any questions that you're not clear about the system, you may ask through this Google form, and then we will process it. And if we find that it is something that everybody needs to know, we will include it in the FAQ so that everybody will benefit. So this is how what I mentioned, trying to improve the system. And of course, if there's any errors, feedback, or bugs or whatever, please also can inform using this Google form. Yeah. And with that, I would like to finish my presentation. Thank you all for your. Yeah, I will. Oh, what? Yeah, okay. I will keep you at this so that people can keep scanning if you have not scanned or your slow shutter. Yeah, thank you. And hopefully everybody support the LAM boss system. Thanks.
All right, so let's move on with the agenda. Our next two speakers, actually, they'll be speaking together, I believe, is Mr. Yap Sao Siong and Mr. Chiang Pei Chin of PwC Malaysia. They will be giving us an introduction to the LAM boss system as developed by PwC. So let's give them a round of applause and welcome them to the stage.
I'll start off first. Thank you very much, and good morning. My name is Yap. I'm a partner in PwC Malaysia, and I must say it's a great privilege to be in front of you today in this auspicious event, right? The journey, as Dr. Tan has explained, like 20 years. Our role in this project has been 6 years plus now. Starting from really designing the blueprint to developing it, testing it with a number of people from the profession, and finally we're here. So first of all, I want to congratulate the team, Dr. Tan and everyone involved for this great achievement. So well done, thank you so much. So before I hand over to Chiang to go through a few pages, few being 420 pages, no, just kidding. Just maybe a few words about PwC, in case you've heard this name mentioned a number of times. So PwC is a network of professional services firms across the world. We operate in 149 countries, and staff strength of 390,000 people across the world. In Malaysia, we have 7 offices. So that's Penang, Ipoh, KL, Malacca, JB, Kuching, and Labuan. We look after 3,500 plus people in Malaysia. Similar to your profession, the accounting profession has also been evolving over the past decades. In more recent times, issue around independence is top of mind. The way we work with our clients has also evolved with technology, digital, and more recently, admittedly, I've been more involved in e-invoicing, for those of you who've heard about that. And my current role takes me to places because I do quite a fair bit on artificial intelligence, both internally and for our clients. So don't really mean to promote PwC in any way, but those of you senior enough who have kids wanting to go into a professional services firm, maybe a firm to consider. So Chiang, if I can invite you. So Chiang has been with me for how many years? 8 years, 9 years? 12 years. I'm very thankful that I have a very loyal set of people. With me as well, we have also got the team who will be looking after the outsourcing of the operation of LAM boss system. Shuk Yi and the team stand. So just a word, right? So you've heard the real sort of nexus of this whole stakeholder arrangement. It's really about transparency, about protecting the public. It's about upholding principles of the profession of yours and gaining that. And we are very privileged to be partnering on this project because in PwC, our purpose is actually building trust in society and solve important problems. So we think that throughout this journey, we've gone through a period of time. COVID came and went. We're finally here. So again, very privileged to be here. Thankful, Chiang. So maybe you want to take through the system in as much detail as you can. Take your time.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chiang from PwC. So I'm going to do a briefing on introduction of LAM boss system. As this system is built over a number of years, so I think in this session we will have a condense to introduce you. However, rest assured we will have FAQ training video being uploaded to the system and also have roadshow to support you to use the system. So for this session, I'll just go through the juice of the system. So for LAM boss system, it's actually customized and developed for LAM as the stakeholder to manage the fees. So there are 4 key processes incorporated in the system. One being project registration. So project registration means is to formalize LAM involvement in this stakeholder management. The second part is project revision. This comes in when there is change of scope, change of project information, etc. This will then kick into project revision. In the latest slide, I will go in detail what is this about. Then the third bit is project claim. This basically is the fee management. Yeah. So majority of the activities will actually happen during the project claims. And the last piece is project completion. It's the completion of the project life cycle. So with this system in place, it's actually to enhance the efficiency and also for transparency in terms of the stakeholder fee management. So this is, as mentioned just now, this is an online application. So what you see from your left is the login page by the ACP. So as you can see, you can have a few, it's a simple interface where you can register project, you can view a project, and also a tile to say how many projects being registered in system, how many pending LAM action, and how many pending information document from ACP. So there are some features that we built into this system to serve the purpose of LAM as the stakeholder fee. So of course, the first one is, maybe I just take this up. Yeah. So the first one is, this is an online system. So it's being accessible by laptop, your smart devices, iPad, iPhone, so you can just log in and view the information. And also, we have role-based access. So there are LAM access, ACP access, client access, where there is control what data can be viewed by the stakeholder. And the third part also have project passcode. So for each project, there is a passcode to control the visibility of the data. Then for enhanced security, we also enable OTP, one-time password. So OTP is required when there are critical action being performed in the system, such as project revision, change of password. That is This is to protect the system because project revision is something critical. It needs OTP. And the last part is the notification and audit trail. So there is a comprehensive audit trail in the system to keep track the changes of data in the system, performed by which user and what time the data is being updated. This is to audit trail to keep track. And there is also notification to inform the respective stakeholder when there are certain action being taken. Okay, and the last part is the hosting. So the application is actually hosted in Microsoft Cloud Server and managed by PwC Global Team. Yeah. So those are the features, key features that being built for the system to enhance efficiency and transparency. Okay. So for the next slide, I'm going to share about the project registration. So project registration is the first step in the project life cycle. There are 4 in total. One is registration, revision, claim, and completion. So during project registration, ACP need to provide some information on project information, such as project title and date. Then they have ACP information, client information, payment schedule, and also attachment. So for ACP information, it will actually pre-populated from the system based on the data we have from LAM. So there is already an automation in the part of the system. Means you don't need to provide everything from ACP data. And as for payment schedule, it is actually by default, the payment schedule, as you see here, is based on architect scale of minimum fees with 5 phases. But having said that, you can also customize the payment schedule based on what being agreed with the client. Just that by default, it will be based on these 5 phases. Okay. So, so what will happen is ACP will need to go to project registration, online form, fill out the information, print it out. There is a PDF printout with the pre-filled information. Get ACP to sign and a client to sign. After that, upload to the system, then submit to LAM. So what happened after that off system is the outsourcing teams by PwC will do the checking of the form, the signatory, ensure that it is accurate as per the form, and thereafter, if this is all good to go, then it will update in system and say accept for registrations. So once this is accept for registration, email will be sent out. The notification will be sent out to ACP and also client. So this is for transparency and to ensure that the stakeholders are informed of what activities happen in the system. Okay, so what you can see here is our project registration form. There are a few sections. Okay, so normally in when you kickstart the project, so this will be the part where need a bit of data entry, but thereafter it will be quite smooth. Okay, so I will then move to project revision. Okay, so when project revision is going to happen, there are 2 things. Is one, ACP need to log into the system to fill out the changes. Okay, so for example, you can see here there is a yellow color. So the changes, the update will actually be highlighted in the system, indicate this is the revision part. Okay, thereafter, again, print up the form, get ACP and client to sign and upload back. So you need to update, upload the document to the system, and there is also a revision history to keep track the changes as well. There is audit trail every time. Who made the changes, what being changed, there is always in the system, can be extract, can be viewed. Then the third part is the project claims. Okay, so let's just look at the system. So from here, you can actually see there are 5 tiles. These are the summaries of the information for the project. So for the first tile, you can see it's a total invoice to date, the amount, total amount received by LAM, amount outstanding. What does that mean is if there are invoice that is not paid or not fully paid, it will reflect here, amount outstanding, the total management charge for the project, and also total amount paid to ACP. So those are the 5 tiles. Summarize the amount, numbers happen for the project. So this is a high level, but in detail, there is always, you can see what are the invoices, what are the proof of payment and payment to ACP. Okay, so there is always a detailed record for you to track how this number is being calculated. Okay, and yeah. So for the next slide, I will actually talk about the claim process in a more deep dive manner. Okay, so for claim process actually being split into 2 steps. Okay, the purpose of the project claim process is to ensure that the fee being paid by client can be disbursed to ACP. So the first step is the invoicing. So first is ACP issue invoice to the client. Then upon completion of the work, there is a sign-off form. I mentioned just now, you can be download from the system. Get the sign-off form signed by ACP and client. Upload both form to LAM boss system. Okay, that is the first step of claim. You need to have an invoice. Once this is uploaded to LAM boss system, our PwC outsourcing team will actually do the checking of the uploaded form and the system. So they are preparer and reviewer. So we will do the checking, ensure that the information is correct, is accurate, so that the payment is recorded correctly. After that, this is done within 4 working days. Then LAM approval will go in. If this is okay, then it will do approval. So you can see there are actually 3 rows that have to go through the process to ensure that the invoice are being captured correctly in the system. Then after invoice, there is this payment then will come in. So after when client made the payment, then LAM will have to upload, LAM, ACP will have to upload proof of payment and also the invoice detail to LAM boss system. So outsourcing team, preparer and reviewer will check the proof of payment, the detail within 4 working days. Then the same thing will go to LAM approval, we'll do the checking again. So it's always we call 4 eyes review. There are multiple layers of checking to ensure that the data is being captured correctly. Yeah. So if that's all good, of course, this is an ideal scenario where it is all good, they can fall through the right. If there are any missing or incorrect information, the outsourcing will always reach out to ACP to check. Okay. So once this is being approved, then the fee will be disbursed to ACP via bank transfer. So, question proceed. Okay. And the last part is project completion. So actually, the project completion means it's a complete of that project life cycle. So the difference is in project completion is there is a form for project completion form. ACP need to upload the form as well to signify that this project is now completed and can close the project in the system. Okay, so the same thing happen whenever there is a form submitted to LAM boss system or document uploaded. Our outsourcing team will do the checking to ensure that the information are correct. Then it will then officially close the project. Yeah. So that's the gist of the LAM boss system. I think we will have, I mentioned just now, we have FAQ and training video. So we will also need to support you in the roadshow. Yeah. So in a summary, the system is really built to improve efficiency and also for transparency. With the system, the web is open for ACP to log in, for client to log in, LAM to log in, being user-friendly and transparent with the data to the various stakeholders. Yeah, that's apart from LAM system.
So just a final point to mention is that whilst we're split into kind of 2 teams, right? Chang and I on the technical team, so we'll make sure that the system is Microsoft's, because it's hosted on the cloud, it should be 99.95% uptime. And we kind of split because the outsourcing team will then manage the operations of the team. So if any technical issues, that's where we will step in. And you will see that all these various approvals is really to govern and control the process so that nothing slips between the cracks and making sure that the monies due are properly dispersed with the right authority from them. Okay, so that's really to protect your fees. So with that, I think that sort of concludes what we have to share for today. More information will be shared in due course. Thank you very much.